Yesterday I was like hella on live stream.
Hope to see you guys on the live stream. 1,000,000,000%.
And then I got totally fucked up with me friends. And then
Woo! Yeah, baby!
the good news is I'll be aiming to live stream every day throughout February. And I'm going to do 12 legendary Welcome to Stephen Johnson Socks recap videos, one every month throughout 2020, to look back at the live streams, look at the live, how the trade plays out, and ultimately reflect on the entire 2020 year. So let's get it!
Alright, but up.
I started the year, last year was profitable, but only by a couple of thousand, so I wanted to make like at least 10,000 this year. And in starting with a $600 account, and I made about, let's say, net profit, I made 4,800, but there's some borrow fees coming off, so it's really like 4,500. I basically turned 600 into 4,850. So yeah, I made about 4,300, 4,400. There's 400 borrow fees that come off your net profits, which is that $400 there pretty much. So I'm in a position now where the account's just under $5,000. You can see I'm pretty consistent, starting from the $600 account. Lost 10 bucks, I was pretty sad. Made 180, then made 200. Then I had a 670 day. Didn't trade that Monday after the weekend off. 300 day, 500 day. Worst day of the month was that 238 red day, but there was only 3 red days. And then it's like 100 day, 380 day. Red day of 50 bucks. I was gutted because I was like, third red day of the month. Not that it's bad, like 3 red days out of like 24 trading days. It's really, really solid. And then I had me 923 day. I'll recap on that, 200 day. And then kind of like, you'll start seeing like, as my account got higher, it wasn't like 100 days. Like before it was much more like up here, it's like you'll have 200 day, 100 day, 100 day, odd lucky 600 day. But as my account grew towards $5,000, it was much easier to have like a 400 day than it, but without the losses getting out of hand. Worst loss was 50 and 230. That's having 400 day, nearly 1,000 day, 200 day, 700 day, 95 day, nearly a 400 day. So got much better. But let's roll into the live trades. My best trade, my worst trade, what I learned along the way. And ultimately, I just want to say, like everyone says, what are you doing different? And I used to trade to make money, and now the big difference is I trade like the casino. I'll be like, look, I'm in this to make money long term, not for the short term. This isn't short term gratification that I'm looking for. What I'm trying to do right now is say, what strategy can I employ in the market that's going to give me the best results over 12 months? And that sometimes means that I misplaced. That sometimes means that like I could have made fucking $1,000 and I only make 200 because the stock didn't do exactly what I wanted. But it ultimately also means that I very rarely take a big loss because I never put myself in that situation, because I'm in it to take profits over the year, not to self-gratify for the day. Just before we go into the live stream, I just want to quickly point out, this is like a textbook short. Gaps and fails, gaps and fails, gaps and fails, gaps, spikes and fails, yeah, gaps and fails. And not on small volume. It's gapping and failing on 24 million. So every time it gaps and fails, that's like 30 million people like underwater for the next time it gaps and fails. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So there's like the whole float was underwater. I think it's definitely a low float. And I'll check that. But basically, I was short this day, expecting that it would do what it always does and gap and fail. Volume's concerning, but I'll just take you through the live stream. And the float's 15 mil, so that was 15 million people underwater. But let's jump into live. But first, wait. Also, just why was the stock up? The stock was up because it was doing screening tests for the deadly, rapidly spreading new coronavirus. It's been a hot sector. It's become hotter than I thought, which is why this stock actually is pushed since the direct offering, which was the day after this news came out. But in general, it's a pretty bad company. If we look at the financials, it's having its worst years ever. So generally, news is iffy because we know that the screening tests are just probably bullshit for hype, but it's got with coronaviruses and that's hot, so the news is half weak, half strong. The company is a terrible company. It's got a history of gapping and failing, and it had a direct offering, which was about to pop at any moment. And yeah, and the rest is in the chart, live stream. So this is CODX live stream.
Grand, you know what I mean?
See what I say?
It's just one of those. It's one of those opportunities that you don't see often, and you think it's all the stars align on this.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, what I'm explaining is it's popped up. It's not been able to hold its high. It's holding the support, but you can see it's actually a descending triangle. If you look for where the highs are, it's actually descending.
It's a bit scary that it hasn't broke down yet.
Yeah, I'm wanting it to break down, and I know the fact that it's a 15 million float. It's traded 3 million volume. That's a lot. So a little bit later on, I'll just skip a little bit ahead. Yeah, I'm just pointing out again what I pointed out earlier. This is on the daily all the time. It fails. Just waiting for the market open here. And I'm basically, here's quite important because I'm talking about the different directions I expect it to go. It actually goes in this direction. I'm saying the way it's making this descending triangle, if you drew just a line just across all the tops there, it looks like it could wash out at the open, pop back up, come back down, consolidate a little bit, then pop back up, and then maybe drop for the rest of the day. And it actually did exactly what I anticipated. You'll see in a minute, it actually washed out just like that. The other way it could have gone, which I detail as it consolidates pre-market. Yeah, there's the descending triangle before the crack that I'm just marking out there. But it could also like kind of pop up and spike. So I'm in like a quarter size around this time. Or even less, maybe even a fifth size, anticipating that it's going to gap up. But we'll just skip to the market open, or just a few minutes before, and I'll just play me live thoughts.
I'm going to have to play resistance from like the 320s, 83s, 82s.
So right now, I'm short about a fifth at around the 280s.
Come on, if it breaks 80, it's fucked. 82s, bid's getting hit quite hard. 81's the lowest I've ever seen. 81s. 80s, come.
Just speed it up a little bit, just because we're in pre-market, but it starts to wash out here, you see. And this is like 2-3 minutes before the market open. This might just be the market open now. We'll go normal speed for the market open.
Some small shorts into the spike, so I've got like 290. I'll short.
Yeah, what I'm doing right now is I'm just adding shorts for like 290, 320, because I'm only in like a fifth size. I want my average to be around 330s, 320s. Because I'm expecting now it's going to wash and make the pattern I said earlier. But we'll just move a little bit faster, 5 times speed. Market's about to open. I'm basically I've shorted a little more because it's getting weak, and because I've shorted more, this is quite an important point, because I've shorted more. My resistance was in the 4s, now it's in the 350s. Because when I'm shorting around the 250s, 270s, I can't have me risk too high. I'm only in a fifth size around the 270s, but my risk can't be 4 because I've just added size. So as I've added size, because I think it's going to fail because it looks weak at the open, I've actually lowered my risk, and that's an important point.
I nearly got it. Oh, cents is away. I always miss it by a couple of cents. Always. And I'll come back up and I didn't get the position off.
That's looking for my first copper.
Nah, 57. So close. So close.
And basically, I'm just going to speed up the pattern. Basically, I'm covering into washers and I'm shorting into pops. Go a little bit slower. So the initial wash I covered in, and then I'm shorting.
Like 280.
And then I'm basically shorting, and I'm lowering my risk. Now my risk is like just above the high of day, where it was like 3. It was 4. Then I added position, lowered it to 350. Then I added into more weakness, building into a winner, and each time I'm adding more. So now my risk is like 290. And as expected, it broke down, washed. I'm looking to short into like little pushes here. Again, I think it's not bounced enough for an extra ad. Just looking at some other stocks to see what's going on here. Back to CODX. I think really if you get one more wash around here, then that's perfect, and I'd be ready to take it off. I think what happens though is when you look at the volume's clocking up 10 million now, and it's a 15 million float, so it's rotated its full float. So I'm starting to think like, yeah, I think I'm out. I'm actually out there, so I'll just show you the minute I get out and why.
Credit 400.
So I'm up about
Credit,
800, 850 now. I was building a position in the
still.
eighth. I was building basically.
Yeah.
I was building a short as in about a fifth size. It got weak, so I added a bit more. Then I shorted into the bounce. Then I shorted into the next bounce, and I'm covering all the washes. Now I'm thinking, look, it's down from the 4s to the 170s now. I probably should just get out.
Belgium.
And I think I just take it. I get a bit scared that it's not going to break down around the 197s, and I take it out. Actually, short again a little bit later to make 930. Just one last, and that's just saying I made 850. I actually went on to make like 930, and I short it once more, and it all works out well, and that's pretty much it. And this is OSS, and again, similar chart, gaps and fails. This time it kind of gapped and ran a little bit, and I short on this day, January 22nd, gapped up, and it often gaps up and fails, so I thought I'd take a stab at it and write it down. If we just look at the last 15 days, just so I can give some context to what you'll be looking at on the live stream. It was this day when it popped up, started giving some back, washed, popped back up, washed, but then it started holding here, and I ended up cutting it around the 280s, you'll see, when it broke trend, but ultimately I shouldn't have. It went all the way down to the 250s, and I mismanaged my position size, but you'll see it live in the live trade, and I need to like give myself more room for like fake outs. Okay, so we're just going live with OSS now. I remember basically being short around the 320s, 330s. The borrows are pretty expensive. I'm just logging on. I think I'm about 150 bucks up already. I'm just shorting into the kind of the lower high in the 315s, 305s. And we're just approaching market open. And from what I can remember, I want to spike to short into. But I'll play this live for you.
Sure. I am short. OSS. That's really weak. Must be an SEC. What's that? No. NTR. OSS. Particularly weak. Yalla, bye. I'm going to focus. It's fucking fun here as well. Didn't have much time to do much research, but yo. I'm short OSS from 298 or something, tiny position.
Okay, so there you go. So I'm short from just under the 3s. It looks like I've chased down the backside of the move a little bit too much. So my risk really needs to be in the 320s, but from what I can remember, I'm roughly in a fifth size. I'm shorting high of day on a stock that usually fails. So I'm wanting it to spike up to the 320s to build into a short. And let's just see what happens when it comes market open. Let's just play the market open, in fact. Okay, so we have the market open. Fuck. I'm sorry, we're literally live at the market open, and I'm short from what I was saying earlier. So this is the first candle of the open. So this is the first candle of the open. I'm hoping for a push to short into it. It's super weak. It's give it all back, which is, although it is a questionable one, this one, because nah, it's not. For me, this is a textbook short. When it gives back this much, I'll short into the higher day. Hoping for a spike, yeah. Not getting one, getting a wash. Bit disappointed because I had obviously borrows that I'd paid for and I wanted the spike. Washing more. And really what I want now is I'm like shortening into bounces, lowering my average, and then obviously lowering my risk as I do that. Bit bored. NTRP obviously ripped up. Just jumping onto that. But I think we can skip ahead a little bit. OSS slowly breaking down, not much going on. But this is where it gets interesting. So OSS is particularly interesting where it doesn't break down. Do you see on the other stock we're talking about with CODX how it broke down? OSS didn't break down. So I'd already chased the front down pre-market a little bit. And then it didn't break down and it started pushing a little bit. So now I'm like, oh, this is a bit risky because I'm in from like 290. And I'm thinking it's already in the 280, so I've only got 10 cents on it because I chased it down. So now I'm really hoping it's going to break down here. And I've marked out a support line basically for it. Kind of consolidated in the 290s a bit here and 290s a bit here. But I'm pretty much ready to just get out if this pushes. But this like you saw CODX, it's too much strength already. It's not too much strength, but you've got to have caution. So how will it do against this previous higher day resistance level? We're lucky to see that it washes out, and then I think, the stock's over, it's done. But it doesn't, it puts in that higher low. And that higher low is quite scary. So if it breaks through here, then I'm out. NTRP is a monster. OSS consolidated a bit, doesn't have the strength to push through just there. So we're very lucky, we'll see the wash. So now we're putting it into a channel because you've got the support in that 275 level. Then you've got the resistance near the 3 level. 3 is the whole dollar and it popped in it. And it had resistance at 3. So I'm hoping that it's going to fall through the support. I think I cover a little bit. It's wise to cover a little bit because it's stuck in a channel. It showed some strength. You want to? I remember getting a cover off at 258. I think it drops in a second. But I want to be lowering my position a bit because it's showing a bit too much strength here. Yeah, 258. Yeah. So I got a bit off there, but I'm still got quite a bit of a sizing. So now what I need to do is short towards the higher, hope it breaks down, and if, I'll just, let me just get back to, okay, so now I've got a few options with OSS, because it's washed, found support, spiked, new resistance, it's in this channel, it's on this descending triangle which I've marked out. When it failed, it didn't go all the way through, it should have failed properly and convincingly at 258 and washed out the 250s. Instead, it's bounced back up through. So if it breaks through this channel in the 280s, I'm pretty much out. I don't even think I'm risking it going to 3. So let's just see what happens here.
If this starts to fail here, I'll short again. I just want to see how it reacts against, it looks like the bid's getting hit. I'm back in another 200 shares at 279, just because it's right at this resistance line of this overall downtrend. But if it doesn't fail, I'm just can't be arsed with it. I don't know if I'll stay around.
So you can see I'm already planning to get out and just take the loss. You're expecting it should respect the trend line and wash. But once it starts blowing through the 280s, which it should in a minute, then I'm just out. I'd still give it a second more, see what it does. NTRP looks like it's going to have another leg up there. You know, I've had me lucky day. Is it done? I was nearly like screaming for joy, thinking, yes, it's failed. It's washing out again. But that washout is a fake out, and it continues to blow through, and at which point when it breaks the trend, I'm out. And it then goes on. I'm not sure if I'm out at the trend line or if I'm out in the threes, but either way, I only lost 35 bucks. No, I'm out. I was out. I'm pretty sure I was out at the trend line, and it was a little bit cautious, but I chased the stock down, so I had a bad average, and then I actually ended up double topping at the resistance level that it topped at a higher day, and went on to break down at the 260s, 250s. So a couple of mistakes. Yeah, I chased the stock down for position, and I didn't leave myself I shorted more when it broke down into the bounces, lowering my position a bit much, and then as it broke the trend line, I didn't have the flexibility to continue. But I mean, I cut it tight, and you'll cut losers a lot of the time. So, I mean, if I'd had a better position, I could have played it better, but I didn't have the initial good position. So I don't even feel like I made any mistakes. I really don't feel like I made any mistakes. I got into it a bit late, so I had a tighter risk, and I only lost 35 bucks. That's a wrap. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back February, but I'll be live streaming every day this week. My broker is Trade Zero, so if you want to go through Trade Zero, please click the link below. I've ultimately learned through Tim Sykes and Profitly. If you want to take his course, there's a referral link below. And peace, live the dream, and I cannot wait to see you guys on the live streams from Monday and back in February to review the next month. So my profit was 10k, I'm up 4k so far, only 6k to go. And the other thing is I've grown my account 500%. So to grow from 5 to 10, it's bigger money, but I only need to grow 100%. So it's a fifth of the challenge, but with higher stakes. Live the dream, we will not fail. Thank you for the support. God bless.